direct misfire, talking many war games. Bensome and Spoon are taking aim. Comment, like, and subscribe today, keeping you notified and up to date.
Welcome all to the next Direct Misfire Battle Report. Today's Battle Report is Undead versus Abyssal Dwarfs, 2,000 points. And the scenario was Invade. So tonight I have with me Bensome, who played the Abyssal Dwarfs. Abyssal Dwarfs. And Vivian, our special guest, who played Undead.
Hello.
How are we both?
Yeah, not bad this evening. It's Monday night.
Bit average.
But we're doing well.
Alright, before we get into the battle report, we'll go through army lists. So, Benson, you want to go through your Abyssal Dwarves first?
Yep. So this is one that I'm thinking of taking to MikeCon, which is a tournament being held towards the end of March. I've run it a couple of times and I think it's quite good, but that's just me. So what I started off with is 2 troops of gargoyles, because you need to have gargoyles. They're a great little flying chaff unit.
Yep.
Then I have a bit of fast speed punch in 2 regiments of Abyssal half-breeds. One of them's got the caterpillar pot for Pathfinder, and another has fire oil because I had 5 points spare.
Yep.
And it comes in handy sometimes. The extra crushing against regen.
Mm-hmm.
A bit more punch, bit of a visual threat with Abyssal Grotesques. I've got a horde of them, and I've given them the elite item, the Blessing of the Gods, so because they're only hitting on 4, having the reroll ones to hit makes it a bit better.
Yep.
And then I've just thrown in a Dragonfire team just for small chaff dispersion or flies that get around the back. Bit of threat there.
You shoot them up.
Yep. And then I have my Abyssal half-breed champion. He's running with a Quicksilver Rapier, so he's my character sniper. That gives him a 2-up melee against other individual characters. Mm-hmm. 6 attacks, crushing 3. It's pretty good.
Pretty good, yep.
Then I have a Supreme Ironcaster on Great Winged Half-Breed. He's fairly light. I've just taken Lightning Bolt so he can just fly about and have some long-range shooting. And Basusu the Vile. He's my mini dragon.
He's a pain in the ass.
He's a pain in the ass. And he's great. And for flavour, I've taken a couple of Abyssal allies. Just a regiment of flame bearers because that'd be good to sit on objectives and shoot stuff.
Yep.
And the Archfiend of the Abyss. This guy I've given Lightning Bolt a 5 and Ensorcelled Armor for the defense buff. And the main reason for taking him is because I have a sweet looking figure that I wanted to use again. He hasn't been put on the board since CanCon last year.
Yes.
And needed some table time.
Yep.
And I like him. So again, I try to run balanced lists, so I've got a lot of fast things, a few flying chaff, small things to keep around the back, objective holders, and a bit of punch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. Viv, do you want to run through your Undead list? Now, this is your first Kings of War game, so go for it.
It was. Well, I'm coming from Warhammer, so I'm a bit of a scrub when it comes to Kings of War, so I had no idea what I was doing, so I was figuring, maybe I should just have some anvils, a couple of hammers, the typical stuff that you'd take. So I went looking through the list, and I'm like, I already play Undead VC in Warhammer, so I might as well play Undead in Kings of War.
Yep.
And I'm like, what is the most tankiest thing I could possibly get? And then it just drew me straight to Wraiths, by far my favourite unit in the entire roster.
Flying Defense 6?
Yeah, Flying Defense 6 is just amazing.
So
I love
quick.
it. But anyway, going off on a tangent, what was in my list was a horde of skeleton archers, 2 regiments of wraiths, 2 regiments of mummies, 2 regiments of soul reaver cavalry, a vampire lord, and 3 necromancers. Now, because I'm a giant scrub, I don't really know what magic weapons are, so I bypassed those altogether.
Who needs magic weapons?
Kind of just went for a list that, you know, I could maneuver and try and pick engagements and deployments with so many drops. And I figure Surge sounds really cool, so if I had 3 necromancers, I could potentially shove something in somebody's face.
Yep.
It turned out a bit different. Turns out Miss Bruce and her little dragon entourage that hides behind her.
Miss Bruce is my archfiend of the Abyss, for anyone listening.
Yeah, but no, I really enjoyed the list, and for my first game, like, it was really, really good to learn with. None of my stuff was too fragile, so I felt like I could put it in a position and it would be forgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And just for my future games going forward, I know how I really want to generate my lists now. I still have no idea what magic items are because I can't find them on the internet. Somebody sell them.
Yeah, you need the rulebook because it doesn't come in the free rules. If you do use Easy Army, you could do the slow route of adding on items and then going to like one of the view buttons, and down the bottom it explains all what you've equipped.
Yep.
With the dudes. But it's the long way around.
Just do that. Print them all out. Can you do that? I suppose you'd have to select every item, wouldn't you, and then print all of them.
Yeah, that's a real slow going, that one.
Make a huge army, select every magic item, and then.
But who needs magic items when you could take Morgoth the Faceless? Like, here's the magic item. I will just take him.
Well, you can't, since it's a living legend, you can't add items onto it, so...
Yeah.
Oh, well,
He's got all the items anyway, he's got all the spells, and the
got all the
flying, and
toys.
the defense. Yeah, anyway.
Anyway, before we go off on too much of a tangent, was there any plan behind your army list, Ben?
Well, since I've run it a couple of times, it's the same thing of hold any objectives that I can, run around the sides and or back with my flying fellas and try and pick off some dudes. I like to play a bit more defensive to begin with my big fellas. Adds a few points of damage to the enemy and then swoop in to try and clean them up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to play super aggressive, but that's just my nature as well.
Yep.
Okay. That's my plan, if you can call it a plan.
Vivian, this might be a tough one for you. Did you have a plan, or just push things forward?
I pretended like this was a game of Warhammer, really. So you told me right at the beginning that we had to get to the other side of the table, and I thought that meant get into deployment, so you get to the right back of the board. It wasn't until like turn 6, so he's like, no, you just need to be on half of the side. I'm like, god damn it. Because I could have like mopped up so much stuff if I knew I just had to get to the middle, kind of. But anyway, but no, so I basically just waited to see when he'd deploy in certain areas, and then I attempted to do false deployments, so putting my weak shit in one corner away from his big gribblies, and just kind of trying to use my fast stuff on the other flank to kind of mop up his other stuff, and then try and get to him. But spoiler alert, there weren't really enough turns. Like, I cleaned up one flank, but there just wasn't enough time for me to go all the way through.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah.
We'll run through deployment first. I'll try and describe the table, if that is at all possible. Alright, so we'll go from the top of the table. So this is the short end of the top down to the bottom of the table. So we had, at the top end, we had a height 1 hill. Not far from that, I'm assuming it was a height 3 building with a bit of fencing around it.
I think we went for all the buildings. Just
for all the buildings?
Simple. Yeah.
Yep, okay. Not too far from that, a little further down the board, we had a 3-inch forest, I'm guessing it was. Yep. Followed by a river that runs through most of the board. I wouldn't say centre of the board, but...
Kind of cuts through a third of the board.
Yeah. A height 2 hill in the middle there. A little further down from that, we had the height 4 forest. Then another height 1 hill. I'm assuming that was height 1. Yep. And then we've got a swamp in the bottom end right hand corner. And what did I explain? Was the house in there as well? Did I say that one?
I'm not sure, but there were buildings near the height 4 forest.
Yeah.
On either side of the
river. Yeah. Right, run through deployment. So who wants to go through their deployment first?
I'll go since I read out the list first.
Yep.
So, not sure what I wanted to do here. What I ended up doing is putting my units of gargoyles in front of my grotesques fire team. What's his face on winged? Who's it? And beside those gargoyles were my pathfinding
half-breeds.
half-breeds.
Yes.
So I've got a little cluster there of units,
Yep.
fairly central.
Yep.
I've hidden my Archfiend, Miss Bruce, behind the house, closer to the bottom of the board, and on the very edge I've got my Flame Bearers, Abyssal Champion Basusu, and the Fire Oil half-breeds in that little cluster in the right near the edge.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got 3 fairly distinct areas that I'm covering.
Mm-hmm. Alright, Viv, you want to run through your deployment?
Sure. So on the bottom of the table, I think that's my left. Yes, that's my left. I just saw him drop his giant Gribbly, so I'm like, alright, Miss Bruce can play with my crap, basically the mummies and the skeletal archers. And I was figuring, because he's putting a fair bit of units there, hopefully that'll bog him down for a little while. So I put the 2 units of mummies to try and slow him down from getting to the skeletal archers. This is one thing I really regret. I put a unit of Soul Reaver Cav in a river that may as well have been height 6, because rivers are basically frickin' walls. Like, just dealing with them is such a f***ing nightmare. Just, so yeah, I put them right in the middle of the river.
Didn't I warn you not to do that?
Yeah, maybe. I'm obstinate. To learn the hard way. So yeah, like, they're sitting in a river, and again, spoiler alert, they don't really go far, because rivers. But to the left of them, hiding behind a tower, there's a unit of wraiths, and kind of my feeling was, if I had that nice, steady middle, I can kind of hold things with the wraiths and pound things with the reavers. But then on my very, very far right flank, I have a unit of Soul Reaver Cav, because I think I got one last deployment over you, and that flank was just completely ignored. And I feel like moving 16 inches per turn, they can get around and cause some really a lot of damage, because that flank charge was, it's a bit brutal when they get double or triple attacks.
Yeah.
The necromancers I just kind of kept behind the archers, because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I didn't really have a plan for them, and in future I would be definitely running them on horses. I feel like on foot they just can't keep up with anything they're going to surge, because whatever they surge gets away from them. But yeah.
Yes, that's a point.
Oh, also the Vampire Lord's hiding. Yeah, right behind those trees. You can't really see him.
Near the height 3 trees towards the top. Yeah.
Okay, so that's deployment done. We'll run into turn 1, I guess. Is there anything else you wanted to discuss before we start?
No, I didn't like where my grotesques and gargoyles, that little clump there, I didn't like that area. It was fairly open in front of me because there was just hills in front and the river way on the other side, so as soon as you passes the forest, the house, it's all open. So I kind of felt like, that section's gone, let's just try and work on the other side, because I know that the mummies and archers probably weren't going to be much trouble for my flying gribblies and champions.
Yep. Okay.
That was before we had even started the first turn.
So you already had him shaking in his boots before you'd started.
That's what happens.
Alright, we'll get into turn 1. So Viv won first turn with his Undead.
I won the roll-off and gave the first turn to him.
My bad. Alright, I didn't write that down. I just assumed.
Well, because I was thinking with this particular scenario, it's more advantageous to have the second
turn.
So you can make that last action.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. So not a lot happens in Undead turn 1. Sorry, my laptop just restarted, so I'm just reading off my notes. From memory, the Soul Reaver Cavalry at the top end of the board marched up.
Yep.
And I don't think you moved a whole lot of other stuff.
Things kind of shuffled about.
Basically, I changed the angles of lots of things to make sure lots of stuff was in my my arcs, so I always had like 1 or 2 targets to potentially charge and stuff. But
Yep.
like in hindsight, I should have just been running backwards because I didn't realize how much of his stuff just flies. And
Yep.
because, again, coming from Warhammer, I'm not used to this whole you leave combat like after you've been charged. So tying down flying things is really hard.
Yes.
But yeah, so pretty much I just kind of changed the angles of things. I kind of tried to hide my heroes a bit more. And I just kind of shuffled up.
So your archers, your mummies, both move forward what they can. Your Soul Reaver on the very edge of the board march up, and the Wraiths kind of follow a little bit and hide behind a hill, and everything just moves slightly forward.
Yeah, but then shooting phase, my skeleton archers get 5 hits and then do 5 damage on those horrors. What are they called? The blue things hiding.
The Flame Bearers.
Flame bearers, yeah. So that was pretty good. I managed to waver them. So pretty good start.
Yeah, that was quite good.
Yeah.
Little
Considering
disappointing.
I hit on 5s, that's pretty freaking amazing.
And that sort of ends Undead turn 1.
Yeah. For my turn, I don't really do much. Everything kind of shuffles about. The wavered guys sit there waving. Abyssal half-breeds and the champion kind of move into the river. This is closer towards the mummies. They can't march through a river, so they just move what they can. Pathfinding guys kind of hide just behind the forest, just in case if he charges them for some reason, he has to pass through them and end up in the forest. And I realise, there's nothing that I can do to stop those grotesques up the top from being killed. So I just try to make them last as long as I can by shoving them a bit forward and then protecting the front and flanks with the gargoyles as a bit of a speed bump.
Disposable units.
Yeah. So if I can keep them occupied for a little while, I'd be happy.
Yep.
Brucey and Brucey and Bassie, they fly a little closer, just before the river. Brucey will be hiding Basusu, so Viv couldn't shoot at him with his arrows, but he will also be in range for some lightning bolt fun. So after that movement, what have I got? Lightning.
You did some shooting, yeah. So you got the Supreme Ironcaster, who cast lightning into a unit of wraiths.
Yeah, they didn't do much. 1 hit, no wounds. And so Brucey shoots one of the necromancers. Yep. Hits twice and 1 wound.
Yeah, act normal after that as well. And I think that is all for Abyssal Dwarf turn 1,
yep.
Which brings us to Undead turn 2.
On my right flank, I'm feeling pretty confident, so I just try to chaff clear. So I put my Wraiths and Vampire straight into the Grotesques, thinking that he's stopped me from charging his direct right flank with the Grotesques, but I figure I can get in there. And also they've got that, I can't remember what the rule's called, Thunderous Charge.
Mm-hmm.
So if they charge me, they're going to hurt a lot, so I thought I might as well just start it off. And then I also tried to get rid of some of the other chaff with the other unit of Soul Reaver that was closer to the middle. At this point, I'd realised that I was going to lose the left flank. There's no way in hell I was going to survive that onslaught, because that giant wing thing just wrecks your day. It is so hard, and it shoots lightning.
That's even
anyway.
better. From his eyes.
So I got lots of favourable combats that I knew that I'd just win. And then pretty much in the shooting phase, I decided to shoot at your half-breeds at the bottom, and I don't really do much. So that's
because you
okay.
moved your skeletons back.
Yeah, I was trying to get away as fast as I can while still being able to shoot. So I just went back the full distance. But yeah, no, in combat though, no surprise, the Soul Reavers just got the gargoyles. My Vampire runs in and just completely wrecks the Grotesques. My Wraiths do exactly 0 with 4 hits, which was a bit disappointing because I could have just got rid of the Grotesques in 1 round of combat. And then that would have freed up a lot of other stuff. But that's okay, they held, and that's pretty much the end of my turn.
So you didn't waver or rout the Grotesques? which is good for me because they have regen. Hooray!
Yeah.
So what do I do in my turn? The half-breed with Pathfinder behind the forest. They charge the Soul Reaver Cav now that the gargoyles are gone into the water. They got Pathfinder. It doesn't matter. Then with this grotesque, it is a grotesque fight. I had a few choices. What do I want to do? Can I charge the Wraiths or the Vampire? And I'm thinking Vampire is probably the bigger threat there, and I could probably do a few wounds. And if I even do one, it knocks off his Thunderous for a turn. So I'll go with that one. So they bump into the Vampy. Brucey Baby and Bassie fly over to attack some... what's it?
Some mummies.
Some mummies. And the Flame Bearers can't really do much, so they move forward what they can into the river and regen one wound.
Hey, that's better than nothing.
Yeah. Then we go to shooting.
Yep.
Flame Bearers, they try to shoot some skeletons. Pah, nothing. They just whiff.
Silly hits.
Yeah, nothing. The fire team breathe on Wraiths. Hit 7 times, which is pretty good. But they do no wounds.
Defense 6 is a big thing, isn't it?
Defense 6 is pretty
Yep.
good. My Ironcaster says, bugger this, and shoots the Wraith. 5 hits. Yeah, no damage. Oh.
He's been a bit underwhelming in a couple of games, hasn't he? I mean, he's got your points for getting to objectives.
Which I guess is the main thing.
Yeah. But he hasn't done a lot
No.
damage-wise, has he?
I don't think his Fireball or Lightning are particularly flash.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's a nice figure.
Anyway, moving to
Combat.
2.
Grotesque versus Vamp. They do 12 hits, 8 damage, but I only roll 7 for nerve, so he acts as normal. But 8 damage is pretty good.
Yes.
I was happy with that.
I'd be pretty happy with that.
I was a bit shocked when I realised that the entire unit could attack him, even though, his tiny little footprint.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's not
Oh,
wild.
god damn.
Yeah.
But then I looked at his nerve and I'm like, oh, okay, 19. They would be fine. Not used to vampires having 19 wounds, effectively.
Just a couple more on either side of the, say, nerve roll, or just one more extra wound, and
Makes a
could have been
difference.
running. Because the Grotesque also have Brutal, so it's an extra one. Half-breeds, when they charged into the Soul Reavers in the river, they managed 10 hits, 4 damage, which is a bit meh, but they are defense 6. And then they roll a staggeringly high 4 for the nerve, and so they act as normal. But we don't care about that fight. That's nothing. That's just a amuse-bouche for the big meal over here, which is Bassie and Brucey into the mummies. So, Miss Bruce, the Archfiend, 9 hits, 6 damage. Bassie Boo, 5 hits, 5 damage. 6 for nerve, plus brutal. Rout. See ya, buddy.
The worst thing was about this fight is I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, hell yeah, you're 1 under. And then you're just like, oh, I've got this rule. It's called brutal. It's +1. I'm like, are you shitting me? Are you pulling this out of your ass? Like, where do you find these things?
Yeah.
Turns out it's those artifacts I know nothing about.
No, the Archfiend comes with it.
Comes with it as a standard rule.
Built
Well,
in.
that's alright then. He's like that faceless guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, brutal rule is brutal. So they kill the mummies and then turn about and face the archers looking for their next tasty snack. And that brings me to the end of my turn.
So it brings us to Undead turn 3.
So, at this point, I didn't really know what to do with my bottom. So I'm like, I might as well do some damage because he can't really attack me back.
So this is the archers?
The skeletons, yeah,
Yep.
they're about to charge the Archfiend. And at the time I was thinking, like, is there any way I can get both units in? But it's just something I've got to get my head around with, I guess, like, the new pivoting system and stuff like that, and movement. It's just a tad bit different. Yeah, Yeah, so I could only really get them in. But at the top there, my Soul Reaver Cav and my Wraiths go into the Grotesques, and then my Vampire Lord, because I love this like just breaking combat thing and 360 charges on characters. I didn't know until this term that I could actually do that. I'm like, alright, cool, I might as well try and hurt one of your characters. So I put my Vampire Lord right into the Supreme Ironcaster. That's
Who's
just
sitting on the height 2 hill.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I figured, because the Grotesques were so hurt that I figured they're not really going to need extra help.
And you also had the Soul Reavers and Wraiths into the flank of the Grotesque.
Yeah. That was
That
just
sealed their fate.
40 attacks hitting on 3s with like -3 to your defense.
Those Soul Reaver Cav are nasty as.
Yeah, I think I've got the numbers here. Yeah, wait, no, where is it? Yeah, 30 hits, and then I do 27 damage.
That was just the Soul Reavers.
That's just them. I didn't
Yep.
have to roll anything else.
Nope. You didn't need to.
Yeah. Anyway, so pretty much not much shooting, not much magic. I didn't really know what was going on. At this point, I think most of my necromancers were, well, one got instantly popped by a lightning ball, and the other two were like, oh my god, that thing with wings is lightning.
Run away.
I didn't know you could do that. I'm like, why can't I use Surge on myself? Useless. And yeah, so I pretty much just tried to hide them behind the hill. So they've done exactly nothing in this game. And it's at this point where I'm like, well, they can run 10. Maybe I can get them, to his board edge to get some extra points. And then my old friend River.
Old man River.
Anyway, so yeah, my Soul Reaver Cav go also into the half-breed that charged in a turn earlier.
So it's still in the river?
Yeah, the river wrecks me again, so I don't
Splashing
get
about?
-1 to hit, and I don't get the Thunderous Charge and all that stuff. It doesn't really matter. I still do 6 damage, and I waver them, which was good enough. Vampire Lord goes into Supreme Ironcaster, 5 hits, 3 damage. That's pretty good. A bit below average, I think. But that's okay. And then there's Skellies versus the Archfiend, as well as you'd expect it go.
I think you'd expect it to go that well.
Oh well, 3 hits, 0 damage.
Yeah.
Out of 20 attacks.
Yeah.
Couldn't do worse. So, I guess. Anyway, but no, that was pretty much my turn.
So where do we go from here? Now that the Grotesques have popped, the Ironcaster probably wasn't in a good position where he was.
Yes.
The Bassy Brucey flank I've pretty much covered, so I just need to get as much points across the board now, and take out what I can that's in close proximity, because I'm not getting those Wraiths, I'm not getting those Soul Reavers that just minced the Grotesques. Probably not going to get the Vampire unless I'm lucky with some shooting, but I wasn't hopeful.
So before you go, Ben, for those that are listening, it's very top heavy for the Undead and very bottom heavy for the Abyssal Dwarfs.
Yeah. Where else?
Going.
So Flame Bearers, they move a little, because what else are they going to do? Try to get across the board? They can't march, so they just splash about in the river for a bit longer. The Archfiend and Bassy, instead of going for the archers, they decide to have another snack at on a unit of mummies that they could see behind these archers that were on the hill.
They were on the hill, yeah.
The Fire Oil half-breeds, they got into that combat as well, didn't they? I think they did. Half-breed, Archfiend, Basusu, charged the mummies, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what they did. They charged the mummies. The half-breeds in the river, they're still not doing anything. And my flame war machine cannon pair duo thing decided to sneeze and just do nothing on some race. Or I might have gone for the vampire wasn't in combat.
Nothing was, because everything was unengaged. I'm pretty sure it was the Wraith, but might
Yeah.
have been the Vampire.
Flame Bearers, they only moved, but they tried to shoot, taking out 6 hits, 2 damage on one of the Necros that were getting close to that Soul Reaver Abyssal Half-Breed fight. There seems to be a lot of undead in that little corner. 2 Necros, Vampire, and Soul Reaver all together, but Necros don't really have much defense, so sneeze on them for 2 damage. Didn't really do anything. And yeah, my flame team, they shoot the Vampire. 3 damage, but 7 for nerve. So not quite there. That's slightly frustrating. But 3 damage is alright on a defense 5 guy.
I think he is, yeah.
So I guess I can't really complain about that, but I will. The Bassi Basusu fight against the mummies, as Viv put it, goes as you would expect. Basusu hits 6 times 6 damage. Brucey hits 9 times 9 damage. Half-breeds hits 11 times 7 damage, and the mummies go, yeah, screw this, and they disappear.
So that was double ones.
Yeah.
Otherwise it was bye-bye.
Yeah. My Ironcaster said, yeah, I'm not having any of this, got off the hill and flew behind one of the fences, which is sitting by a building on Viv's deployment half, just to get out of the way, because he doesn't want to die, and he's worth a small amount of points. I've given up those, the Dragonfire team, so you can have those 50 points. And then that'll be the end of my turn.
Okay, before we go into Undead turn 4, what were your thoughts halfway through the game? So we'll start with Viv.
I pretty much lost my left flank, but I knew I just got to tie up as much stuff as possible. So, because I didn't realise all I had to do was get to the middle of the table, I thought I still needed to get into his deployment zone.
Yep.
I was kind of still planning around that, so I figured I'm probably going to smash the rest of the stuff on my right, and then I should start running to the other side. But realistically, I could have attempted to pick some more stuff off at this time, but again, I didn't really know. Also, I was probably still in shock or denial, because that bloody river.
It just held you up for so long.
Yeah. But yeah, I knew right from the beginning I probably wouldn't deal with the giant demon thing. But yeah, I was still kind of happy with how it's going. I also thought that it was a point system. Like, it was just for each unit you get into the deployment, you get a single point.
No.
I didn't realise it was actually points.
Yeah.
So that kind of works in my favour, I feel, though.
Yeah, because you've got an
unintentionally. Yeah. But no, that's about it.
Benson, any thoughts?
Yeah, well, same but opposite. So I lost the northern part with those Soul Reaver Cav and Wraiths and Vampire. There's just nothing going to do there, so I wipe out what I can. I wasn't too afraid of him trying to chase me, because even if he did, I didn't think that there'd be enough time to swing around and get back over the line. That river was quite beneficial for me in that respect. So for him to come and chase me, he'd have to pass the river.
Meaning he's not getting points in your table half.
Yeah, that's right. So he would stop my points, but his was worth more.
Yes, he's got a lot of expensive units up that top end of the board.
So I didn't feel too bad there. That's where I was. I was feeling a bit worried, because looking at the board, there's a lot of expensive undead there. And I think I haven't really destroyed much. A couple of regiments of mummies and some necros.
Yeah, I think by turn 3 you've done, like, I don't know, or not even 300 points of damage yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Alright. Let's move into Undead turn 4.
So I just finished the grotesques. So my Vampire Lord and Soul Reaver Cav recharge the half-breeds that are sitting in the river, because I figure I'm going to have to deal with this sooner or later if I want my Soul Reaver Cav to actually get it without Otherwise, it's just never going to happen. So they go in there, and my wraiths both charge the fire team.
Fire team, yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So my skeletons are like, oh my god, we survived another turn. It's amazing. So they decided to turn around and shoot at the Ironcaster that my vampire failed to kill. Because I figure, if I can do a little bit more damage, because my vampire's already hurt him, that potentially I can get a lucky nerve roll, or I can't remember exactly what I needed.
It wasn't an outrageous number.
Yeah. But I got 6 hits and then 3 damage, so that was way better than I was expecting. But you passed it and you were normal business as usual with them.
The Ironcaster's nerve is 15-17, so it's not stupid high.
Yeah. So I would have done 8 damage in total with the shooting. So no, 6. Okay. So it still would have been really hard for me to break you.
Yeah.
I need double 6s or an 11 or something. Yeah. So my wraiths pretty much smashed the fire team, and the Soul Reaver cap with the vampire just deleted the half-breeds. So I pretty much cleaned up the rest of it, and my thinking now is I just run for the hills with all my points that I've got. And my necromancers, which are still hiding towards that tower, I think I probably asked 4 times, Ben. I'm like, how do I cross this river now? Like, you have to move through it, because you stop when you hit it. And I'm like, oh god.
Because you can't run through it.
Yeah, you can walk through it, you just can't run through it.
Is it because they wear dresses? They just drown.
Yeah, it gets caught in the rocks.
So I'm like, oh wow, because still at this point, I'm thinking, okay, it's the amount of units you get across. So, if including my my necromancers, I think I had like 9 or 7 units, one of those 2, and you had 7 exactly. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get my necromancers across that line. But yeah, it doesn't really happen. That's pretty much the end of it.
Okay, so that brings us to Abyssal Dwarf turn 4.
Yep. So with just one horde of archers sitting about with a whole bunch of evil fellas, I could kind of choose who I wanted to send in. Miss Bruce I didn't want in the combat, so it could shoot with its lightning breath. So instead I get the half-breeds, Bassie and the champion into the archers there, because it's fairly confident they could take it out. Yep. The flame bearers move forward across the river and into scoring position, and then they turn and face one of the necromancers. The Ironcaster doesn't really do much, just shuffles about, lines up another shooting shot, and that's it for movement. I had nothing else on the board really. The flame bearers shoot one of the necromancers for 1 hit, 1 damage. Miss Bruce uses its lightning bolt and does nothing.
Zero hits.
Hits the ground. It's the water, that's what I reckon. Just couldn't control it. And flame from the Ironcaster hits 5 times and 5 damage, but only rolls a 3 for nerves.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was at the other necromancer that was trying to get through the river.
The one that was still stuck, yeah.
Yeah, lifting its dress to get through the water.
I don't even understand. Necromancers, like, do they even need to breathe oxygen? Couldn't he just, like, go on straight through? He doesn't exactly need to swim.
Well, he might not be undead. It could just be a person who practices necromancy.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
You reckon if he could raise the dead, he wouldn't need to breathe oxygen? Anyway.
Combat. There's not much combat here. The half-breed hero, he hits the skellies twice and does 2 damage. The unit 7 times and 6 damage, and Bassie hits 5 for 5 damage, but only roll a 3 for nerve again.
Somehow they live another day.
Yeah, well, unlive?
Unlive.
Anyway, that's all I can do on that.
That's the end of
my 4.
Abyssal Dwarf turn 4, so brings us to Undead turn 5. Not a lot happens here.
I essentially run for the hills. I try to get my necromancers across the river. I just
run for it.
Yeah, just think of, like, Saving Private Ryan D-Day, but in reverse. Instead of running off the beach, I'm
They're
running back
running
to
to
the
the
boats.
water.
Yeah, so at this point, I'm like, come on, I need those points that I don't actually get. So, yeah, pretty much running. Also, my skeletons, it's their moment of glory. I'm like, what's the nerve of Bruce, Miss Bruce?
1820, I believe. 1618.
Okay. So I'm thinking, maybe if I charge her and do miraculously 2 wounds and then roll double sixes, weird things have happened. But then I realised I can't really charge her, so I just went for the half region because I'm like, okay, it's realistic and I can do some damage. So they go in there, and then they do sweet
Because they're archers.
Yeah, they're hitting on sixes, wound on, I don't know, something. So, yeah, I may as well just sat there and shot him in the face. Probably should have. Anyway.
You couldn't because
Oh, yeah, that's right.
that'd be disordered.
Yeah, because you took damage in the previous turn.
So they just slap and do nothing. So my dudes just retaliate.
This is Abyssal Dwarf turn 5?
Yeah.
Yep.
There's not much. The game just kind of snowballs from here.
Yeah.
So with that unit back in the fight, Miss Bruce and the Ironcaster decide to try and pick off those running Necros. The Flame Bearer does 2 hits and 1 damage to one of them. I think that's not too good. The Archfiend decides to breathe on the next one. 4 damage. Well, that's pretty good. I'm getting close to the a decent nerve roll here, so I go and shoot the other guy with lightning. 3 hits and 2 damage. Rolling nerve for both of them. Rolled 8 for both of them. Routed both of them. Hooray!
I was gutted. I was sitting there and I'm like, oh yeah, it's last turn. They're totally going to get it. And then freaking
Shot in the
back.
And then with the fight with against the archers, Half-Breed 6 damage, Bassie 7, and roll a 4 for nerve, and the Scully's route, so Half-Breed unit didn't need to fight after that, because I'd done enough damage. So that's most of all of my dudes on Viv's half, and whatever's remaining of Viv's on on my half.
It's kind of a bit of a swap.
Yeah. So for the Undead turn 6, you didn't really do much, did you, Viv?
Yeah, it's just moving around.
I ran again and I figured, because you've got these tactical nukes, I should probably hide my vampire, because he's sitting on 7 wounds, I think. And, if you got a lucky roll, that's a huge amount of points you'll suddenly just get, or I'll lose. So I tried to hide him behind a building. I don't hide him very well, because your shit flies. There's nowhere I can really hide from that. So just kind of moving behind the building and end my turn, really.
And everything else moved towards the edge of the board, so I'm not going to fly in to try and get those points because it's just not going to happen. So Miss Bruce lines up a shot and only does 1 damage. Nothing. Acts as normal. Because I can't really fly in. There's no place for me to get in, do some damage, and get out again. And Miss Bruce is worth 360 points.
So she's better off staying in the table half where she's going to be earning points.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So with that normal roll of the nerve check, that ended the game. What was the result?
Game results, so it was the Undead on 1,200 points and the Abyssal Dwarves at 1,300 points. Yeah, for some reason I put AB instead of T. So 1,300 points, so that was a draw.
Yeah, which I think was what you want in a learning game. What did you think, Viv?
Yeah, no, it was really good. I think for a learning game, it was really cool. Just seeing how movement worked is something I'm probably going to take a long time to get used to. Also, the power of flying. Just being able to, even if you get charged, you don't really care. Because unless the other thing has 360 movement, you're going to disappear and then probably get a rear charge, somewhere. So the giant flying tough things are really hard to deal with. So that's something I'll definitely look for in list construction in the future. Also, the style of my list, I guess I would have probably never even have touched the river if I knew it was going to be such a pain in the ass. I would have gone full right flank, just ignoring the river completely and kind of trying to bust through.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, like with my list, I still don't really know much about magic items, but I've kind of generated a list I really like the look of now as well, revolving around multiple mounted necromancers and units of wraiths, because I figure so many surges with the wraiths, you just need one unit to get in. So if I can move my necromancer 16 forward, still be within 12 of the wraiths, because the wraiths can fly. Actually, that's a question. If you surge, do you fly or do you surge on the ground?
On the ground.
On the ground, and you can only cast if you only moved. You can't go at the double.
Yeah,
cast.
because you can't
Okay.
at the double and shoot.
Yeah.
But what I could realistically do is like put them advance forward, but still within 12 of the wraith unit, and then multiple.
As long as you've got a line of casters that can cast on them, you can cast it on them as many times as you like. You just got to be in range after the first cast for the second caster to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And putting necros on horses gives them that extra height so they can see over infantry.
And extra
see,
speed.
See the wraiths.
Yeah. Like that speed just makes such a difference. Also, I think it gives them one more defense, which isn't the worst either.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not sure about that though. But I figure in the future, Morgoth the Faceless is where it's at.
I'd like to see you
guy,
run him.
He's such a beast.
I feel like he's more
so
of a point
tough.
sink, but
He flies. Fireball 15, Lightning Bolt 6. Just the variety as well. So he can do just about anything in any situation.
Yep.
And he's a bit of a tank. Like, I would not hesitate using him to body block, because I know he'll survive, and then in my turn, he'll fly away, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Just remember,
we
if he
shall
gets
see.
hit, if he gets hit, he can't cast.
That's right. If he takes one wound, he's disordered.
But because like Nerve 19, Defense 6, Regen 5. If it's worst case scenario and I have to stop you, I wouldn't even think twice about it.
Yeah, and he's more survivable than your Vampire Lord.
Yeah.
The only thing that you need to factor in is you can't at the double and use your magic, so he's only moving 10. Fireball's 12, so you have to get fairly close to do it, which means you're probably going to get in charge range.
Yeah.
So
I'm
you
thinking,
have to play it very smart.
He's Surge 12 and Lightning Bolt is 6, so I may use him for more of a Surge roll. And Lightning Bolt's 24, isn't it?
Yes, yep.
Yeah, so that's nice and fast. And also, Bane Chant, I don't even know what that does, but...
That's an extra crushing or piercing.
Okay, so does that stack for each 4-up?
No, only the one.
Only the one.
Yep, so the more dice that you roll, the more chance you've got of it working.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so I think definitely in the future I need more magic missiles or range damage just to deal with that chaff, because that slowed me down heaps if I'm going to run a cav list backed up with wraiths. Also, having a plan for my characters. The Vampire Lord's fine because you just push him in the face. He does what Vampire Lords do. But the Necromancer's required a lot more thought. I didn't cast Surge once because I didn't want to go forward. So I'm thinking, what the hell's the point of them?
Yeah, and you didn't have room to move around the flanks where you put them.
Yeah, but like this is all the stuff that in your first game, you're not going to know.
That's right. Yeah.
If you're playing. But now I have an incredibly good idea, and I think one of the most fun bits now is I'm going through all the evil races, and I'm trying to like min-max certain things. So I reckon I'm going to steal some stuff from Empire of Dust and Night Stalkers for my next list. But it will still be mainly wraiths with Soul Reaver Cav, because at the end of the day, it is still an Anvil Hammer game, and if you can perfect just simple movement phase, like you win the game in the movement phase. So
correct.
Yep.
If you can perfect knowing where you want your anvils and knowing where you want your hammers, I feel like it's a good game. Good substitute for Warhammer in that respect. Yeah. But also like the multi-charging as well, having units in front of units and that being okay was a huge change for me. Because in Warhammer, the charging happens all at once. You can't just go, alright, I'm going to conga line charge that thing. So no, it was interesting.
Well, I think you did very well. You picked it up very quickly. And by the sound of it, you've got it in the bag with the way that you're writing lists now after one game. Yeah, it was a good game.
Yeah, it was a very good game.
Thanks for the game.
Oh, that's alright, thank you.
Yep, go on.
Just one quick thing. Having no idea what your units did probably hinders me as well. So, I think that'll be a giant learning curve for me, is knowing what units do. Because you can't really plan effectively not knowing what shit does.
No, that's right. But That's something you'll pick up very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that and actually read the objectives.
Yeah,
Not
objectives
knowing
win games.
Yeah, because I kind of stopped myself in the foot a bit there. But,
Anyway, you did well. Look forward to the next one. Was there anything else that we needed to talk about?
I think that might be it.
That's it?
I think so. Yeah, I think we'll call it
Okay.
there.
I just got one thing comment.
Yeah.
Burn your rivers. They're not needed in this game. Like, you just save yourself the trouble.
No, more terrain is good. Makes you think more.
Maybe just like a giant forest.
No.
Just one big forest.
No.
So every time we play Viv, just put 4 rivers on the board.
Just divide the board up with rivers.
My whole army would just have to fly then.
Yeah.
Alright, we'll leave it at that.
Thanks for the game again, Viv.
Yeah.
And thanks to anyone who was listening. We're doing alright. We're the only cow cast in Australia.
At the moment.
At the moment.
Are we going to YouTube this one as well?
Yeah, we got images, why not?
We'll do both?
Yeah.
I'll do some artwork for you. Anyway, we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Thanks for listening.
See you soon.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, direct misfire blowing up the game. Talking many war games is our aim. From rulebooks to advice, we cover it all. With the best tactics, we never fall. Bensome and Spoon are your hosts every vid. Misfiring, but aiming up ahead. Comment, like, and subscribe today. Keeping you notified and up to date. Come check us out at facebook.com/directmisfire or shoot us over an email at directmisfire@gmail.com.